You know that you need solid business advice if you're going to be hitting any of those business goals in 2025. What most people aren't going to tell you is most of that advice does not come from other people. Okay, so hold up, let's roll it back a minute, because you absolutely need strategies. You absolutely need strategies in business. You need to know how to do the things that you're doing, and you need people to teach you these things. You absolutely do. Whether that's the services you offer, the social media strategies, the visibility for your business, how to deal with staffing, how to deal with tax planning, or how to increase visibility, how to increase bookings, how to get more clients. And you cannot run a business without these things. But I saw a post recently that said, energy versus strategy. You can do it without one of them and it's not strategy. And I mean, I've just told you that I completely agree that strategy is really, really important. And I wholeheartedly disagree with the fact that you can do it without one of them. You need both. You cannot do this with strategy alone. All the strategy in the world without the energetics would get you not very far. All the strategy in the world will not work if you don't address the energetics as well. You need both. And also, not just anything about energy. Energy in general is important, and there are different aspects which we need to address. Today I'm going to be talking about one very, very specific part of your energy, which is absolutely crucial when you have business goals, that I'm going to be speaking about in just a minute. So if you've been doing all the things and wondering why they're not working, this is what you're going to need to know. I'm going to show you why now. But first, we really need to start thinking about it like this. When somebody who doesn't have trust issues or money wounds or visibility issues or whatever it is starts a business, it becomes very, very easy for them because they aren't starting from the same place as somebody who does have all these imprints in their energetic blueprint. Somebody born into an entrepreneurial family who was brought up around businesses, who was brought up with generational wealth behind them, is worlds apart from somebody who is starting from scratch, from somebody who was brought up in a family who lives paycheck to paycheck, and maybe they're the first business owner in their family, in their lineage. These two scenarios, the people look very different to each other because of where they're starting from, because of the energetic background, the energetic blueprint that they've got from the word go. Even if these people were given the exact same strategy, their results will be vastly, vastly different because of where they're starting from and what's going on in their energy. We are all unique. We all have a different energetic blueprint and a different set of energetic imprints, which are creating stories, narratives, beliefs for us, which say we can do this, we can't do this. This is going to work for me because of this, and this is not going to work because of that. Where we are starting from impacts us massively. So even given the same strategy, two people could have vastly, vastly different results. And there is so much healing to be done. Our journey is part of it. It's not about where we're getting to. It's not about the destination. Our healing is in the journey. Our healing is in this process. And really enjoying the process. Once you accept the journey as the process, as the initiation, things really start to change. This is where the magic happens, when we actually accept it and take this business journey as an initiation, rather than saying, oh, well, they don't have all these things going on and I do. Actually using them as initiation and a journey process. But it's why the energetic side is so, so important. And why energy, yes, but most specifically that your intuition is your most important business advisor. Because the nudges, the intuitive hits that you receive, they are the very, very first part of the manifestation process. These tiny little snippets of information that we're getting, whether we take them and act on them and run with them, this is the first part of the manifestation process. Things like who to hire, what programs to invest in, what services to train in, what strategies to adopt, who to ask for help. There are so many different people offering help with different programs and different offerings, and they really, really want to help you. They have amazing things and they know that they can help you. And they obviously want you to join their thing, which is amazing. But you can't do all of them. You cannot do everything. You can't hire every person who teaches business, or every person who teaches sales, or every person who teaches whatever it is that you're wanting to learn in your business. You can't hire every single one of them. So how do you choose? And it comes to things like, do you specialise in offering lash artistry or massage? How do you choose? Do you specialise in wellness? Which accountant do you hire? Which tax advisor do you hire? How do you choose your staff? How do you pick the people that you want on your team? How do you pick the people that you want to work with? What product lines you're going to use? What things you're going to incorporate into your services and into your business? Every single day in our businesses, there are decisions that have to be made that actually affect the entire trajectory of our business. Even if we don't know it at the time, these small decisions have a massive, massive impact on the overall trajectory of where we're going. And if you agonise over these decisions, or worse, try to outsource all these decisions to somewhere else or to somebody else, we end up getting stuck in loops of stagnation and procrastination. Making quicker decisions, making aligned decisions means faster manifestations, which means hitting financial goals a lot more quickly. And how do we make quicker decisions? We learn to trust and rely on our own intuition, our own guidance. Every single query, every decision that you're making needs your intuition to be absolutely on point, no matter what it is, no matter how small it is, the small things, the big things. When we can tune into our self-trust, into our intuition, it makes making those decisions so much quicker, so much easier, and so much better for your business, and so much more aligned in choosing the right path going forward. So I know that you have been told loads and loads of things about how to develop your intuition, and there are loads of intuition practices online that you can do. What crystal am I holding in my hand? Which card am I going to choose? What colour is the duck that's hiding behind the rock? Or whatever intuition exercises that you've seen. There are absolutely hundreds of thousands of millions of them out there online. There is so many more layers to actually becoming the most intuitive that you've ever been than sporadically doing these exercises online. Because at best it feels like you're just guessing and getting half of them right, doesn't it? There are two things about doing it this way that are actually stopping you getting more intuitive. These tests aren't actually doing much on their own. You need to progressively work on an internal level to develop your receptivity and interpretation in connection with these type of tests. And you need to do something else that nobody is talking about, which I'm going to speak to in just a minute. But first, building intuition looks like meditating with a specific intention and then journaling on what it is that comes through, and as well as journaling what comes through, interpreting it as well, not just writing it down and being done with it, interpreting the messages that you're actually receiving. It also involves dream journaling. Now, this is something that most people are wasting. Most people are wasting the easiest and most potent active channel to their divine, to their higher self, to their consciousness. In the morning, the first thing they do is pick up their phone and start scrolling on it instead of picking up a pen and paper and journaling on their dreams. Understanding their dreams and being able to receive the messages within them. So it's not just about writing them down, it's about understanding what the dream's trying to say, even if we don't want to hear it. In the description box, I've put a link to Dream Intuitive. I highly recommend that if you're wanting to develop your intuition, you check this out. It's a journal that you can use to become more intuitive using your dreams. Like, you're waking up every morning anyway, you may as well take full advantage of that state that you are already in. If that's not for you, it looks like writing down your dreams and then interpreting and analysing what's come through. Asking yourself what they mean to you specifically, not just plugging it into ChatGPT and finding out what a computer thinks about it, finding out what AI thinks about it, finding out what the rest of the world thinks about it. What do those symbols mean to you? How do you interpret those, and what do they mean in relation to your life, to how you feel, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your energy? How does that relate to you? So what else to become more intuitive? Really, I keep saying the word, but keep digging into that symbolism. Dreams, intuition, all these messages that we receive are very, very symbolic, and they are very specific to you. So really understanding and building yourself a library of all the specific things, what the different, even down to things like different colours that are in your dreams, the different symbols, the animals, the people, the places, all these different things, the smells, the tastes, whatever it is that's going on, all these have meaning. And the more we journal after meditation, the more we journal after we wake up, the more we journal on our dreams, the more of a picture we can build up to actually create this library, to create this sort of own intuitive dictionary. Another thing you need to be doing with intuition is sitting and receiving information from the body. So the tangible body is one of the 5 pillars of spiritual self-coaching. It is such an important part. Our cells are conscious, our body has so much wisdom, and it's so important that we tune into that as part of building our intuition. Feeling into the different sensations that we're going to be experiencing to distinguish between things like intuition versus fear, intuition versus FOMO, differentiating between intuition and your own thoughts, that your own ruminating thoughts, the things that we intrusive thoughts, differentiating between all these different types of information that we get. Sitting with the body, sitting and feeling what comes up as we experience each of these different types of feeling, whether it's intuition, whether it's fear, whether it's FOMO, whether it's thoughts, repeated thoughts, intrusive thoughts, whatever that is. Being able to distinguish by focusing on what the body's telling us. And becoming really familiar with the subtle difference between these states. And also when we're developing our intuition, it's about becoming consciously aware of what happens when we do follow our intuitive hits and what happens when we don't follow our intuitive hits. What signs are you noticing in the physical world? What symbols are you noticing if you do follow? What signs are you noticing in the physical world if you don't follow? Bodily sensations that you get when you're following an intuitive hit, or bodily sensations that you're getting when you've had an intuitive hit and you've not acted on it. What do those feel like, and how can we start to differentiate between the two? We also really need to get into the idea of rebuilding our trust with our intuition, because we are all born as children incredibly intuitive. We are all born intuitive. And this is huge for a lot of people. It was for me. Like I said, as children, we are so intuitive, and society, schools, families, whatever it is, over time, the systems make us shut that down, and we outsource the trust to things outside of us rather than really going inwards and saying, actually, how do I feel about this? What does my intuition say about this? What's my choice in this? It becomes something that we outsource. And so rebuilding that trust and relearning that trust is a huge part of this. And also having the confidence within yourself and the self-trust to act on your intuitive hits. Now, I have done a video on confidence, which I will link somewhere if I can. I'm still kind of new at this, so if I can link it somewhere on here, I will. Otherwise, it will be in the description box. A video about actually gaining the confidence to manifest what it is that we want in our lives. And it's very different to the kind of confidence videos which you might be used to. It's about actually creating that self-trust and that internal confidence as well. So check that out, because we do need to develop the confidence to follow those intuitive hits. You know, following your intuition when it doesn't make sense to anybody else, following that intuition and having that deep inner confidence and that inner peace to know that actually I'm okay even if I'm wrong, because I followed my own intuition. I've trusted myself, and I've not done what I was told by the external just because that's the way that we've been conditioned to work. And actually being okay with what happens either way, and trusting ourselves to follow our intuition even when it feels like people might think we're a little bit crazy, and being okay with that as well. And this leads me to action. Now, you're going to hear me talk about action so much, because it is an absolutely integral piece of any part of the creation process. Action is so important. There is no point at all in becoming really intuitive, getting a load of intuitive hits, and then not taking action on any of them. Acting on your intuition is what keeps that channel open, is what keeps it flowing. If you think of like a water pipe with loads of water and stuff coming through, and then there's all these like pieces of information in it, and if we don't pick them up, they're going to start clogging, and the channel is going to become smaller and less open and less clear flowing. So we need to take these intuitive hits and take that energy out of the channel and act on it and use it and put it to use, so we can, again, build trust, build that relationship with our higher self, with the divine, so that, you know, you give me some intuitive hits, I'm going to take those and I'm going to act on them. I'm not just going to ignore them. Again, building a relationship. The hits that you don't pick up on and the hits that you don't run with sit at the edges, and they cloud your judgment, they cloud the new intuitive hits that are coming through, the new things that you're asking for. So we need to be picking things up, using them and moving them through. Energy needs to flow. And I mentioned before, there is something else that you really need to be doing that nobody else is telling you to do. Nobody's talking about this. And it's even more important than all of the stuff that we've already gone through. Because if we can be doing all of these things, we can be doing all the intuition exercise, we can be doing all the journaling, we can be learning about the symbolism, we can be acting on our intuitive hits that we do get. You could be doing all of these things and still not be able to break through. And this is why. You need to look at the energetic imprints that you're holding on to that are blocking your channel, that are creating resistance. I don't like the word blocking. There aren't really such things as blocks, it's resistance. But I know it's something that, you know, it resonates with a lot of people, you know, feeling blocked, feeling resistance, feeling these energetic imprints. They create resistance that blocks your channel. The beliefs, the stories, the narratives that we hold on to, whether they originated in you from your own lived experience, or it's stuff you've inherited, generational patterns, ancestral patterns, absorbed energies, energies from parallel lives, whatever it is, wherever these things come from, they can be holding energetic imprints within us that actually stop us becoming more intuitive. They create resistance around our intuition. And so we really need to start working through this. You need to ask yourself this, because this is the absolute opener. This is where the magic happens when it comes to opening your intuition, when it comes to building that intuitive self. Because when you do this, the rest, everything we've talked about, all the things that you've been doing, all the practice exercises will start falling into place. And that is, what is not being intuitive giving you? How is it benefiting you to not be intuitive? What are you scared will happen when you start owning your intuition and start opening up to your spiritual gifts? What do you believe about yourself that makes being intuitive impossible for you? It's okay for other people, but it's impossible for me because I can't do it because. What is that? What are you telling yourself? What energetic imprint are you holding that is saying I can't do this because? Okay, and I want you to actually do these questions. I want you to sit with a journal or sit and talk it out in a voice note with yourself, because so many people listen to the videos, watch the videos, listen to the podcast, read the books, and they take it all and they're like, oh yeah, and they don't do anything about it. And it's actually in doing this work, we have to do the work, we have to go through the process. It's no good, you could read 10,000 books on becoming more intuitive, but if you don't apply it, nothing's going to change. It's like you can't learn to ride a bike by reading about the physics of riding a bike. You have to just get on and try and fall off and get back on and try again. That is how it works. Now, I have a masterclass coming up about becoming the most intuitive that you have ever been, which skips over all the fluff on the internet, and it really deep dives into these layers that we need to be addressing so that the intuition building exercises that we're doing actually work. It works on all 4 levels needed to change these imprints so you can open your channel and become the most intuitive that you have ever been. Now, depending when you're listening to this, it's either going to be on waitlist or it's going to be available for you to jump straight into. I will link it in the description box below. So yes, while you do need to do exercises to develop your intuition, to build on it, and this needs to be something that you're doing regularly, you will not be able to go past a certain point until you start taking out those imprints, till you start taking out that resistance that's stopping you going any further. That resistance that's making you feel like you're blocked, or making you feel like you aren't intuitive, or you're intuitive to a certain point but not anymore, and you can't get any more intuitive. Because it's so important to have this beautiful asset of intuition in our businesses so that you can attract those soul-aligned clients and only do things that light you the hell up, so you can ditch the services that you don't like doing, hire the right people, and have the confidence deep down to know that you are doing the right thing for you, even if it makes no sense at all to anybody else around you, and being okay with that. Because you're so tapped into your own wisdom that it doesn't matter. And this is not only for your business, it affects every single area of your life. Your relationships, your health, your fitness goals, any goals you're setting for yourself, your self-development practice, your spiritual practice. The more you develop your intuition, alchemize the resistance that's causing that blocked feeling, taking out those imprints that are making you feel like you can't be any more intuitive, taking out those imprints that are actually, even if you don't feel like you can't be more intuitive, but you're just doing the exercise and nothing's changing, taking out that resistance is what's going to make the difference. It's what's going to skyrocket. It's going to make you become the most intuitive that you have ever been. The stronger your intuition becomes, the stronger your energy healing sessions become with yourself or with your clients if you work with clients. The more downloads you receive, the more messages you receive. And talking of energy healing sessions, I should just mention, if you want to get a free energy healing session plan, that will be in the description box below as well. So get one of those and just see how developing your intuition actually changes your energy healing practices yourself, because you can actually start to rely on yourself. You can start to trust what you're wanting to do, even if it goes against what's maybe the norm. This is so much about building a relationship with yourself and with your higher self and with the divine, whatever you call that creative intelligence, whether that's God or whatever, the name you use doesn't matter. Developing a relationship with that energy, developing a relationship with yourself, it's so important. It's such an important part of this. So to start building your intuition, it's about the layers. It's about understanding and noticing when actually you could be using your intuition, when you need it, understanding the fact that it's having an impact on you whether you realise it or not. Then it's layering in the practices that feel good to you, the practices that you're drawn to, whether that's dream journaling, meditation. And it's about layering those in with connection to your body, about going within and learning the symbols, learning the signs that you get, learning what your intuition, learning what your unique connection has for you. And at the same time, taking off the layers that are not you through spiritual self-coaching, through energy healing work. Take off the energetic baggage, take off the imprints that you have around what being intuitive means for you. And at the same time, taking off the layers that are not you, taking off that energetic baggage, taking off those imprints through self-coaching, through spiritual self-coaching, through energy healing, and removing anything that says you can't be more intuitive, removing whatever it is that's stopping you becoming your most intuitive self. Just go over the questions again, like starting with questions like, what is not being intuitive giving you? What are you scared of when you own your intuition, your spiritual gifts? And really going deep with that one, really getting in there and finding out what those fears are. You know, if you become really intuitive, you might have to admit that deep down that you know that one of your main services is really not lighting you up, it's really draining your energy. And when you understand that, you're going to have to do something about it, and that makes you a lot of money. And that, you know, you can sort of see how these imprints are actually protecting us. Or maybe that there's a misaligned person in your team, and you really deep down in your intuition, if you were to become really intuitive and pick that up, you would know that you then needed to do something about that. So it isn't always easy, because there are things that we're trying to protect ourselves from, but really to get to that next level, to get to where it is that we're wanting to go, we have to lean into our intuition, and we have to face up to those things that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable. And what do you believe about yourself that makes being more intuitive possible? What is it about your background? What is it about the people around you? What is it that's stopping you? So for me, I was, way back when, I was a tax advisor, and a belief that I held was that I'm really logical and this doesn't make sense on paper, and what the hell will the people around me think? But these sort of things were just imprints connected to the beliefs, stories, identities, narratives that I'd created around and for myself at that time. What do you believe about you? What identities do you hold that are stopping you being the most intuitive that you've ever been? What identities do you hold that are in contradiction to you being highly intuitive? And tell me in the comments, what area of your life do you really want to use your intuition in? Maybe it's business, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's health, fitness, friendships. What is it for you? Where is developing your intuition going to make the biggest difference in your life? And if you want help with any of this, there will be links to all the things that I've mentioned in the video in the description box below, so check those out. And of course, click the thumbs up if this video has helped you. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell, and your interaction on these videos really does help. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who does interact, who does like and subscribe and all the rest of it. Thank you so much for that, and I will see you in my next video.